Creations here. We're making Kinger from Digital Circus. Let's see how this goes. To start things off, let's grab some aluminum foil. Well, it looks like I'm out of the new stuff, but don't worry. I have some old stuff from past projects. Once I have the shape I'm looking for, we can roll out some clay using my pasta clay rolly thingy. Now, as I mentioned, Kinger's from a YouTube animated series called Digital Circus, where the main cast is stuck in a digital world. Now, I won't go into too much detail since I think going in blind is the best way to experience the show. Once I have the aluminum covered up, I can start refining the detail. Now, for anyone wondering, the choice of clay I'm using is Cos clay. I'm probably one of the clumsiest people I know, and dropped many sculptures in the past. And unlike other clays, Cos clay is a lot stronger when baked. Anyways, I'll roll out some strings of clay, and then wrap them around various points along the neck and top of the head before moving on to the cross on top. I thought about freehanding it, but thought better of it, going with a pencil stencil instead. Once I have it cut out, I can transfer the stencil over to some clay that I had rolled out, using my blade to trace the shape out. Once I've gotten my cross, I'll make 2 balls off screen to throw those into the oven for a bake. With the baked pieces, I'll mark out where the cross and eyes will go, making sure to remove them once more before baking the body. Once everything is baked, I can then drape a thin cut of clay over the body. I do this so the body becomes less lumpy and more uniform. I'll then take my silicone tools and smooth and blend the seams of the coat together. I'll drape some... As I was saying, I'll drape some... Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's thing, here comes the thing. Oh, it's thing, here comes the thing. Oh, it's thing, here comes the thing.
While that guy is dealing with thing, why don't we make a gun? Hey! I'll grab some wooden dowels and shorten them. I will then sand down the sections I cut till they're nice and smooth. I decide to make the stock of the gun out of clay, employing a method I used for the cross. Now, Kinger isn't really known for wielding a gun, only really using one in the 3rd episode, so far anyways. But I've never really made a gun before, and thought to give it a try. And honestly, I definitely look forward to making another weapon in the future. Okay, let's talk about hands. I suck at making hands and hate doing them, or at least I would normally say that. However, something clicked while I was making these hands. Maybe it was the lack of fingers needed, or the fact that the gloves cover a lot of detail. But I didn't hate making these as much, and I think they turned out perfectly. With that out of the way and Thane out of the way, we can continue working on Kinger's trim. Taking one of my tiny ball styluses, I randomly add scratchies to the trim, giving it more of a furry texture. Once everything is furred up, we can gather everything up for a final bake. Before starting to paint, however, let's cover everything up with some plastic. Since last time, I spent a good long amount of time cleaning my sculpting mat. Kinger's robes will get a purpley purple. This will require lots of coats to achieve, so let's just cut until that's done. Now, let's talk about Kinger's body detail. I mixed together some vintage white and cadmium yellow until I get that white wood color that hopefully matches Kinger's. I wanted Kinger's head to have a wood gradient, but not being impressed with how it was turning out, I ended up scrapping it all together. Ultimately, this was a lack of me using the proper colors and inability to adapt and change my approach. You will see later that I do end up figuring out this wood gradient, but sadly, I don't go back to the head, which was kind of a missed opportunity in my eyes. Speaking of eyes, let's glue them back into their sockets. But before painting the irises, I will repaint the trim white to cover up any stray colors that my shaky hands had caused. Using my large ball stylus, I can poorly stamp the irises on. I will then take some even lighter blue so that I can impatiently apply lines on top of the still wet paint. And oh look, the pupils will also get applied to what I'm assuming is still wet paint as well. Finally, I can take my thin-tipped brush and make little veinies throughout Kinger's eyes. The last little detail left on Kinger before we move on to the hands is the black splotches lined throughout Kinger's trim. These are strategically placed without a plan whatsoever. For the hands, I will start with the gun, applying silver to the silvery bits and browns to the woody bits. And yes, this is what I was talking about when I said I figured out how to do wood gradients. It turns out, if you properly match the colors together and blend them properly, it'll actually work. Also, Googling how to do things seems to help a lot as well. Anyways, once the hand with the gun is painted, we can move on to the pillow, which guess what? I lost the recording of me painting the base coat. Yay! Anyways, with that out of the way, the painting is done. All there's left to do is assemble everything together, and to make these eyes shine, we'll apply some UV resin to call this sculpture finished. Now let's go outside for some fresh air shots. Thank you so much to everyone who decided to check out the video. It really means a lot, and I hope you all enjoyed this journey in making Kinger out of clay. I also wanted to take the time to say thank you to my first ever patron, Spider Tyrant. With the thank you tier, you'll get a thank you from me in my latest videos, as well as some update posts on whichever project I'm working on at the time. But please, only pledge on there if you really have the urge to support me further, since support on videos is more than enough to keep me going. So if you did like what you saw here, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. With all my shilling to the side, I'm gonna head out and plan my next sculpt. Coiled out!